The worst countries for dating in the entire world. We're going to talk about the places where you are least likely to have success dating on this very planet. And the places that I'm about to share with you in today's video are not just places located in the Western Hemisphere, but also in the Eastern Hemisphere. Let's get started talking about the Western Hemisphere because a lot of things changed in recent years. If we take a look at our rights situation, and when I say our rights situation, I mean the situation for a man. If you live in the West and you want to date a Western woman, then good luck to you because you don't have many rights left. And we're talking about custody rights. Let's say you get married to a woman and she files for divorce, then you are probably in trouble because as a man, you're very unlikely to get custody over your children. Just not very likely to happen. And the same holds true for losing your marital home. Women divorce 85% of the time in the United States. That means that out of 100 marriages that end up in divorce, 85 of those divorce proceedings have been initiated by women. The marital home, if you get divorced, as a man, you have almost no chance to actually get the marital home because the court usually decides in favor of the woman, not the man, because the woman gets custody over the children. And of course, government wants to make sure that the children, the family is being taken care of. So naturally, the wife and the kids are supposed to stay in the marital home. Now we just talked about a few aspects, but that's not all, right? In order for you to get a woman in a Western country, and we're talking about the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, we're talking about Western Europe, we're talking about Australia, Singapore, Hong Kong, we're talking about Japan, South Korea. In order for you to get a woman in any of the countries that I just mentioned, you need to be pretty good. You need to have a lot to offer because how it mostly works is that a woman wants a complete package. A woman who wants to get married in a Western country, that woman is looking for a lot more than just like security, right? Than just resources. You need to have good age, you need to have good health, you need to have looks, right? You need to have just a full package for a woman to consider you, right? Because if you don't have that, then the woman just goes to another guy. So if the woman, let's say she is a 6 out of 10. And when I say a 6 out of 10, I don't just mean in terms of looks, I mean in terms of the whole package, because for a man long term, what matters more than anything is not just the looks, but also, age, and of course also, whether she is loyal. So we're talking about character, we're talking about the potential to have a family together, right? That's important for a man. But for a woman, it is quite different. And women oftentimes only marry men that are richer than them. That's just the law of the land. So if you want to score in a country where you are only a 5 because there's so many more men that have more economic power than you, that are better looking than you, that are younger than you, that are better than you at anything, if that's the case, then you're just much less likely to get a woman that's even below you because the woman has so many more men to choose from. So naturally, a lot of Western men stop dating Western women altogether because they don't want to put up with it. They're tired of it. They just don't want to spend the time, the energy, the resources, because they know that even if they do everything right and they get a woman that they think is good for them long term because she has a good character, because her age is good, she looks good, there is the potential to have a family together. Even if that is the case, there is still no guarantee that you will actually be together 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now. There's always the risk of divorce in a Western country. Another area on this planet where Western men don't have a lot of chances is, of course, the Middle East. That has to do with the fact that we're talking about Islam. And if you want to have success dating in a Muslim country, then you better adjust to the rules of that country. We're talking about you becoming a Muslim because in order to marry a woman from a Muslim country and live with her in her country, you would actually have to convert to Islam, meaning you have to become a Muslim. Muslim women are only allowed to marry Muslim men. It doesn't mean that because you were born in a Western country and because you were Catholic, Christian, whatever your religion is right now, just because you were born in a certain country and had a certain religion does not prevent you from marrying a Muslim woman in a Muslim country. But what does prevent you from marrying a Muslim woman in a Muslim country is the fact that you're not yet a Muslim yourself. So unless that is the case, you will not be allowed to marry a Muslim woman. Now you could argue, well, that's very different if you move a Muslim woman to the West, and I totally have to agree with that. If that's the case, then you don't have to worry about anything. So you could either A, turn Muslim yourself, so you convert, right? You become a Muslim, and that's actually not that difficult of a process to accomplish. It's pretty easy. It can be done in a day or two. And if you do that, great. You can live with her, with the woman that you want to marry in her country. That's fantastic. So if you do that, fantastic. That's been taken care of. If you don't want to do that, you cannot date in a Muslim country, and you cannot marry in a Muslim country as a non-Muslim man. Option 2 would be for you to, just get her into a different country and stay with her there. And then you get to keep your religion, she gets to keep her religion, and you can form a unity in potentially your native country or potentially in a different country where you both want to reside in. What is also true about dating in the Middle East is that you simply cannot date for the short term. It is not culturally accepted, it is not morally accepted, and you can actually get into big trouble by doing that, because in Muslim countries, in a majority of them, you have the female police. There is police for women in Middle Eastern countries, meaning the police make sure that the woman does not do what the woman should not do, right? Because if she does anything that is against her religion, then it could be a big problem for her. You're just not allowed to date for the short term because, sex before marriage is unacceptable in most Muslim countries, if not all of them. So if you want to do that, then I recommend you to go to a different country, because short-term dating or one-night stands are not accepted in Muslim countries. Let's go further to the east, because there's also some countries in Asia, in South Asia, where dating a foreigner is just not really accepted. And the countries that we're talking about are India, Bangladesh, Nepal. I mean, potentially you have seen a Western man with an Eastern woman, and potentially that Eastern woman was in fact from India, Bangladesh, or Nepal. It can happen, but you don't see it very often. Most of the times it's a Western man with a Southeast Asian woman, or it's going to be a man with an East Asian woman. But you don't really see a lot of foreign man with an Indian woman, with a Bangladeshi woman, with a Nepalese woman. You don't really see that. And the reason why you don't see that is because those people are very communal. They don't want to date outside their culture because they don't want to lose what they stand for. They don't want to lose who they are. So if an Indian woman was to date a Western man from North America, let's say the United States or Canada, her family would look down on her because she is expected to date an Indian man, not a Western man, not an African man, not a Latino. An Indian woman is supposed to date just an Indian man. That's just how it is. I'm not saying that it can happen, but most Indian women are just not receptive to the idea of dating a Western man because it's just not part of the culture. They want to retain what they stand for, and that's perfectly fine. So you going to any of these countries, like for instance Bangladesh is a Muslim country, short-term relationships are a big no-no in Bangladesh, as much as they are a big no-no in India. It's just not socially or morally accepted, so don't do it. Now that we talked about the worst countries for dating in the entire world, let me give you some of the better countries to date on this very planet. And the countries we're talking about are obviously Southeast Asian countries. We're talking about the Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia. Those countries are great because Southeast Asian women are very open-minded. They're happy to date a foreign man, especially a Western man, because, they want to improve themselves and they've always looked up to the West. They have appreciated the West. They have respected the West. So by you dating a Vietnamese, Filipino, or potentially a Thai woman, you are going to have a great time in terms of not having problems, when you just get on the first date, or just not being able to date at all. It is definitely very doable in Southeast Asia. Another great region that this planet has to offer is Eastern Europe. And we're talking about all countries, in Eastern Europe. They're great for dating. We're talking about Russia. We're talking about Eastern European countries that are part of the European Union. So we're talking about the Czech Republic, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Romania, Bulgaria, Croatia, Slovenia. I mean, all those countries are great. And there's also non-EU Eastern European countries like Serbia, Bosnia, Montenegro. Those countries are great too, so you can have great success dating in any of these countries. And then of course Latin America, which is very open to foreigners, very open to immigrants, and people there very open-minded because people have been visiting, people have been moving from Europe, from Africa to Latin America for many centuries. So people, they're very open-minded, they don't mind mixing, and for them it is totally normal to accept the foreigner into their culture, into their country. Are there any other worst countries for dating that we have not discussed in today's video? Leave a comment below and let us know. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'm uploading new videos on digital nomad locations, travel updates, and investment advice several times a week right now. And if you got some more time left, check out these videos.